So I was completely emasculated by the Chinese.
The CCP took you out.
It took me out. Well, wouldn't the CCCP,
Wei Li peg you?
wouldn't that be, wasn't that Russia? Was that China? CCCP? Yeah.
I have no idea. Let me look it up.
Yeah,
But
the
my
USSR.
signal's down.
Anyway, no. You came in and saw the remnants. I ate some Chinese food. I am so white, it's unreal. I like
Chinese Communist Party, CCP.
Yes. How like on a scale from like 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, and like heat and food, like where do you measure? Where do you put your food at? Like what can you?
Oh, like what can I handle?
Yeah.
Oh, very, very little. Like this has been a recurring theme for me because my little jungle Asian, they just the reason they'll never succeed in life is because they just are intent on burning their stomach linings and not getting a job or going to school. They just want to burn their stomach linings. They think that shit's fun.
I am still sweating from the food that I ate.
You've taken a shower.
Yeah, I took a shower. I can't cool down. It's like coming from my stomach out. Like the heat is, I'm a microwave. I'm being microwaved from the inside out.
You know what? I have a really bad stomach. I think I redlined it when I was like younger, like maybe early high school. Like they used to have the Hooters Wing Wednesdays, and I would go nuts there. I would eat like legitimate 70 of the hottest wings that they had, and I would tip like $1. I'd be like, yeah, the bill was $10, right? So here's $1. It was crazy. And so my stomach lining said, all right, thank you. You're done for the rest of time. Like you have no more. So I kid you not. If I eat like, if I eat a bag of Takis, right? Famous snack, little spicy snack for our international listeners. For about 2 weeks, I'm in some trouble. I had to stop drinking beer. I can't drink beer anymore. I used to love drinking IPAs, drinking beers. If I drink a beer, I will legitimately be done for a week.
Well, I think that's something different than spice. I think you need to go to
my
the
stomach.
doctor.
Yeah, my stomach lining's bad. So my little jungle agent, she thinks this is the most fun game in the world. She'll prepare this thing with like 17 different types of chilies, mix it all up, crush it, do it, and then she'll be like, "Hey, just try this." I toned it down a little bit. And I was like, "I just watched you put 45 chilies into this."
Yeah,
and I'll try it, and then she'll be like, "All right, you're on the clock." And usually about 4 hours later, I'm on the pot all night long. I just shoot that bidet up my asshole to just cool me off.
Just to try. I ordered just regular Chinese food, and I am like scorched. My soul is scorched. And I wish I were one of those guys that could eat spicy food because I like the taste of like a little bit of spice. But like a little bit of spice to me is like milk to other people.
It's like just a little bit of black pepper.
Yeah. I am so pathetic. It is unreal. Still sweating. I'm going to be sweating this whole podcast, and it's not hot in here, I don't think.
It's not in here, but it is so hot again in Arizona.
It is so hot. Man. UFC was in France last week.
Francais, yeah.
En français.
We had some good calls, and the main event was a bummer.
That was a bummer. That one, I say it all the time. I'm the worst ever at calling main events. Whatever main event I call, just go the opposite way. There's something.
Even the St. Denis fight, he does not have the same aura, I guess, as DDP.
No. I guess, yeah, we thought BSD was DDP, but we were BSD minus DDP.
Then we got BBC'd.
Yeah. Moicano is just amazing right now.
What do you think it is? He's 35, prime of his career.
Well, I don't think it's anything crazy, and I don't think, we love to...
He's just a really solid grappler. He really is.
No, he's went up to 155.
Yeah.
From him at 145, he was cutting too much weight. He didn't have the durability. And he had the really bad showing against Dos Anjos. But that was on like 4 days notice. And we all thought, oh, he's just shot, yada, yada, yada. No, I think it was just a 4-day notice fight and against a tough guy.
He's had glimpses where he's looked horrible. Not horrible, but he's had glimpses of being vulnerable against Dober, against Turner.
Yep.
And then always finds a way to
well, even against BSD round 2, he lost round 2. And he was not looking good. And of course, we saw later that he had separated his shoulder and everything. But he did not look good, and BSD was looking much better. His eye swelled shut, whatever. But ATT, they are like, it's not a mistake how he is winning these fights. He is throwing body triangles.
Love it.
He's not throwing body triangles to try and submit anybody. He's throwing body triangles. The second people go to scoot out, he comes up on top. And then he beats them to an inch of their life. Then if he gets a submission, I think he submitted Turner, right? Didn't he end up rear naked choking him?
I think so. That was like the mercy.
Yeah, it was like he really beat him up. But he did the same thing here. Grant Dawson does the same thing. Body triangle, come up on top. That's an ATT special. It's body triangle. People go to escape. You come up on top. Ear hole him to death. And then, if the choke is there, you take it. Man, I thought he looked phenomenal. So that was crazy.
I was happy. I saw a lot about the Gomez and Brito fight. People thought that Brito got robbed. I thought that was really clear for me.
Yeah.
Gomez 2-1.
So did I.
1-3 Gomez, and then round 2 for Brito. But we called that one. Perez was a nice underdog that we called too.
Yeah, and I thought there was another one. Was Cutelaba underdog?
He finished as a slight underdog. There was a couple more. Yeah, there were some good ones.
I thought we did well. I got BSD wrong, and I
was big on Giuseppe that
Oki.
I got wrong.
I got Oki wrong.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
And I think Oki was the better fighter. He just got guillotined out, and that was just stupid. Giuseppe, I was happy about that because I really liked Battle in that.
Goddamn, Battle's good.
And I picked him as one of my picks actually on the Patreon. I picked Battle because in the reason why I did that was I told you, I think on the podcast, I said this, the Giuseppe's loss was to somebody very similar to Battle, but like Make-A-Wish version of that. He just wasn't as good, but was just faster and was just throwing. And Giuseppe had a really hard time handling that.
But it's not like Giuseppe didn't have his moments. I mean, I was watching.
Oh, absolutely.
I had $1,000 on Giuseppe by knockout. And I'm watching him snap Brian's head back going, oh, man, this shit. You know what? I'll take 2, please. I was ready to just count my money. And Battle just, honestly, he impresses me more each fight because now he's shown that he can take it. He's shown that he can give it. He's got power. He's got volume. He's got awareness. He's got cardio.
He reminds me of like a new age Nick or Nate Diaz, just touching and touching and touching and going.
Yeah, but with power for some reason. Like he's solid.
Man, I thought he did a great job in there. Just volume in his face. And I think that a lot of it too is people don't realize like if they were just casually sparring, Giuseppe might win every round. But Battle being in his face like that with the pressure and the volume, most people can't handle that. They don't handle that well.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was a great fight. Even to lose money, that's the kind of fight you want to lose money on because that one was really, really cool.
This card we have coming up, UFC is at 307.
Yep.
It is this. What is with these Alex Pereira headline cards that the undercard is just garbage?
Because they bring him in to save the whole card.
Yeah, like, man, this is a bad. Like, the whole card is like, who cares, who cares, who cares? Loser goes home, loser goes home, loser goes home. Then we have a main event with Khalil Rountree. And you're like, man, this isn't even like Magomedov or not Ankalaev, like Magomed Ankalaev or like, I don't know. Like, this is a bad card. I don't even want to talk about it. Actually, you guys are going to get mad at us. There's a bunch of stuff on this. I did not film any women's fight. So there's 4 fights right there.
Is that 4 fights?
4 women's fights. We had a mix up of when we were going to record this week. We kind of got it switched and I ended up thinking we had more time than we did. And
that was my fault. So I spent my whole entire Sunday at a jiu-jitsu tournament. Oh my God, this is actually funny. So my little jungle Asian, she'd been like eating carelessly the whole week. And I was like, hey, you have a tournament this weekend. Maybe you should like not order a bunch of pastries and drink a lot of stuff. I made her cut weight, like legit, like albalined her up, put her in the sauna. But it's a little different because they had morning weigh-ins. It wasn't like you weigh in and then go compete. I wouldn't have done that. But it was like 8 a.m. weigh-ins, and then you compete at 5 p.m. So I was like, all right, we're going to do this. And I literally, I put her in the sauna. She made weight, no problem. So we're sitting there waiting all day long. We wanted to go watch her opponent because she was doing the gi classes earlier. This is a white belt tournament. This is hilarious, but like also like if you're going to do something, like go be good at it. Like I want to, this is how I would compete too. So we watched the opponent, this 45-year-old Asian woman, crazy, like had to move down to adult division. And then 5 p.m. comes. We've been waiting there since 8 a.m. all day long. And then the coach comes over and goes, yeah, she wasn't feeling good. She left a while ago.
And that was her only match?
Only match.
Oh, my gosh.
So
I
hate
jiu-jitsu at this point.
Yeah, we cut weight, paid all the fees to park and do all that stuff multiple times. Waited there all day long for her to be like, yeah, she felt sick and wasn't going to go. So it sucked. So that's why I didn't get as much film done as I
That
was
is
hoping.
brutal.
Yes.
Well, let's get into this card so we can get done. I want to get this done because this card sucks.
We can move on to some cooler stuff. Is bare knuckle this week? I don't
Is
know.
it? I don't even know what's up this week.
You know what? Ben the Bane Davis is fighting bare knuckle. Do you know him?
No.
He actually trains at Fight Ready now and again. And I think our very own Kevin Natividad is going to go to Spain with him.
Okay.
For bare knuckle. How cool is that?
Glad we're doing this. Glad I know what's going on at Fight Ready.
Okay, bare knuckle,
Who do we got, producer?
All right, fight number 1. Starting this card off, we have Tim Means, who's minus 210 versus Court McGee at plus 180.
I don't know where to go with this fight. This is the most confusing fight ever.
No, wait. So there's five fights on this card where the only proper response is, I don't know where to go with that.
Yeah, half these are toss-up fights. Yep. I mean, man, Dirty Bird has great boxing. Court's got really good grappling. I think Tim Means has great grappling for a round and a half, maybe. Not great grappling, but it's okay for a round and a half. We say this every show. He's a kids wrestling coach or a high school wrestling coach or something. I don't know. I really like Court. I think he puts a lot of volume, good takedowns. He's still competing better, I think, with younger guys than Tim Means is at this point. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd have to go Court, but this is a real toss-up fight. Dumpster for me.
I think Court, the last couple of fights, he just stopped doing stuff. He's just standing.
And that was his whole thing before.
Yes. Everything is, he's countering striking. He's counter wrestling. He's counter this. He's counter that. If you were to tell me he's going to go out there and offensively wrestle Tim and push him against the fence and drag him down for 15 minutes, I would bet everything I own on Court McGee, even at this late stage of their careers and whatever. But he doesn't. He just kind of sits there and waits and waits and waits and sits on his back foot, and he lets people dictate. In the Morono fight, he finally shot in the second round. Of course, Morono threw the guillotine. He got out. But Court, he has phenomenal wrestling. He has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. But, man, he just isn't utilizing them at this point.
I totally take it back, honestly, because Court has lost 6 out of his last 8 fights.
Yes.
And his only wins coming to Claudio Silva and Ramiz Brahimaj, which are 2 guys that are going to try to offensively wrestle him.
Well, and Death Gas.
And
so they both
gas.
offensively wrestle, which isn't going to work with Court.
Yeah.
He's going to counter it, and then they Death Gas. The thing with Tim Means, it looks like Means, look, these guys are both fighting high-level guys still.
Which is crazy. Earls Medic.
Yes.
Andre Fialho, I know he's the super high level.
I think Means is 40, and December 12th, I think Court turns 40. And so these are 2 old men.
Shoo.
But I feel like Means is still trying to win fights, whereas Court is like, hey, I'm here. I'm taking paychecks. And he doesn't look bad. He just doesn't look like he's trying to fight anymore.
Why did you know his exact birthday?
Because I looked it up to see how old these guys were. I think it was December 12th.
That's funny.
Right? Is it?
I don't know.
But so he'll be 40 coming up soon as well. So they're just 2 old men in it up. And I think Tim's grappling has gotten better over the years.
He's a kid's wrestling coach.
He is. So that said, it's funny because I lean Tim Means because I think he has the volume. He has the striking. He's still trying to win. But, man, at any point if Court decides to grapple, he could completely win this.
That's the thing. One of these sides is going to look massive favorite, I believe. I mean, it could be a close fight, but I think one side will look massive favorite if Court decides to wrestle. If he doesn't, probably gets tagged up on the feet quite a bit. So that's why it's such a who knows?
Yes. Who knows? Moving on.
All right, moving right along. Next up, we have OSP, who's plus 270 versus Ryan Spann at minus 330.
Man, we did this breakdown before.
Yes, now it's at altitude this time.
Yes. And I don't even know if that matters at this point because they both die, but I mean, I think it does. But so Ryan Spann looks good for a round, and he's still in people's faces. He looks, the Bogdan fight, he looked good for a round.
Yes.
For a round.
Then I live bet Bogdan, and then what happened?
Yeah. And then, but here's the issue is he looked good once he got the takedown. I don't think he could take OSP down if he tried 100 times. OSP's got those Norma Dumont hips, and he
got the fatty.
He sits those hips down. Man, that's like a movable object right there. So I think, and he has good counter. He has good jiu-jitsu. He has good top game. He has a lot of good stuff. Standing, he's got that front kick that he's made his last like 500 grand of purses off of a front kick. Leave me alone. Front kick. Leave me alone. Backing up. But against Nchukwi, he actually in the pocket in that second and third round,
he was down.
Good head movement, and he was gassed and tired. But before I liked Spann, But now as I'm looking at it more, and then it is at altitude, Spann just, and it's funny, I looked at his birth date. I think he's only 31 or something like that.
No way.
I think so. I
thought he was creeping 35, 36.
Yes, because I thought he's pretty much 33. Sorry. He's 33. But it looked like he was like off the hill, like he had fallen off the cliff, because he just doesn't look like he's there to win anymore outside of the first 3 minutes of the fight. But it's actually funny, in rounds 2 and 3, he looks really good for 38 seconds of round 2 and then 38 seconds of round 3. Like, oh, he's got the cardio. He's going to do it. All right, we're still here. He's winning. And then he just stops. Like everything just kind of stops. I think Spann can absolutely chin Ovince St. Preux in the first 3 minutes of the fight.
Always.
And if that doesn't happen, I think St. Preux wins a decision, or I could see him getting Spann out of there if Spann decides to wrestle, which might happen. If you see Spann wrestling in round 2 or 3, like,
are we going to see a classic OSP submission?
Well, I could see that. I could
see
he
shoots in.
Yeah,
right? He catches that.
I could see him sprawling, beating on him a bit, and then end up finding a rear naked choke. Or
he wraps those guys up. He's clean with it.
So,
I picked OSP original matchup. I'm picking him again here.
Yeah. I like it, and I think I like it better at altitude.
Oh, yeah. He's just got a more calm game. Like, that little front kick and just stay there and get out of range, like you said, that's going to serve him better. As Spann is swinging bricks at his head, if he doesn't get him out, then what? And
OSP is a southpaw, which is going to make the range even harder for Spann to try to get in, because Spann's big thing is to swing the big overhand, which absolutely works, but OSP with a front kick and that long range stuff, I think it's going to be harder for him.
I'm hoping OSP is this week's Gomez, because pretty good plus money. I like the cardio dynamic, and I know he's not the greatest, but that fight was pretty high pace. That was a lot of output between him and Kennedy. So I like OSP in this matchup.
I'm with it.
Cool. All right, next we have the former champ Carla Esparza at plus 140 versus Tecia Torres at minus 160.
I did not watch this at all. I absolutely refused, but I want to say one thing on it. For nothing more than we just talking.
Okay.
I like Tecia here because I think just the volume. Carla, if Tecia can, she's a house. She's 2 feet tall. Carla can wrestle, but Tecia can
counter wrestle. We just saw that against Tabitha.
That's exactly it. I think Carla is a better wrestler, but I think Tabitha's a better striker, and I think Carla's unwillingness to throw standing, and the whole, like, if she does get her down, and all things considered, I think volume and damage go to Tecia. And so I think Carla has a hard uphill battle here.
So I got to actually talk with Tecia for a long time. So 2 things. One, the last time that Carla fought, which was an eternity ago, I was quoting a house. I do sales for a landscape company, and I was quoting a house, and the guys were like, "Hey, I need to hurry and finish this up. I actually have to go to a party," and it was Carla Esparza's like wedding party after the fight or whatever it was. Her husband that she was marrying, all this stuff, and she just had a baby, right? So now she's coming back. She has a style that's very old school style. Like, she's okay when she's got ground and pound on top, but man, she's got nothing to offer on the feet. Now, one thing I'll say about Tecia is Tecia was going to retire after the last fight. If she had lost decisively, and clearly she told me, hey, I was going to be done. And then she said, because that fight was close, and because she goes, I felt that I won that fight, I know I have a lot more left to go, which I thought was really cool. She is a super, super humble, super gracious person. You're right. I think I like it. I mean, what her style is scores way more than Carla's, style. So I like Tecia. I think she's really, really solid. My only thing is she's really small. She really is so tiny. Her and Tabitha were the same exact size, and that's the only time they'll ever have a matchup like that ever, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Next, we have Alexander Hernandez minus 200 versus Austin Hubbard at plus 170.
This is the same fight as the first one to me. These are 2 guys who loser could possibly go home. I think Hernandez has lost a bunch in a row. That said,
he beat Jim Miller.
Well, yeah, but then he lost 2 since. His strength of schedule is really good. And Austin Hubbard's strength of schedule is not anywhere near.
And he has his moments in each of those fights. It's not like it's just a wash each time.
Jim Miller?
No,
Hubbard.
Hernandez.
Or geez, yes, Hernandez. That's what I meant. Yeah, he does. They're very similar in style. So Hubbard to me is the TJ Dillashaw wannabe. He's Evan Elder light. Like he just these wrestlers who switch stance, feint, switch stance, feint, step in, level change, feint, switch stance, jab. And he will offensively wrestle, and I do like that about Evan Elder. I do like that about Evan Elder. But I like that about Austin Hubbard is that I think Hubbard actually knows how he's going to win. He's going to swing and mix it up and level change and come up and then actually wrestle. Whereas Hernandez now, what is he? If you were to describe Hernandez, is he a striker? Is he a wrestler? Is he a power guy?
I think he thinks he's a power striker.
A power striker, but now he used to be a power striker.
Now he's a counterpuncher.
Yeah, now he's a tip-tap volume Factory X guy. But he's not with Factory X anymore. There's been a huge fallout over at that gym, and a lot of the guys have left.
What happened?
I'm not getting into that. But
Jacoby Jones left. I seen him at the tournament yesterday.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He's at the lab now.
So a bunch of guys did. And where they all end up will be very interesting to see. But, so he's kind of doing his own thing. He was just up there sparring with Gaethje. So then it's like, well, now what does he do? So he's got a new camp. Does he have a camp? Does he have a coach? We don't really know what he's up to.
And isn't Hubbard at Elevation? They're both Colorado guys.
Yes. So, I mean, traditionally, I would have always said Hernandez. I think he is the better striker, and I think he is the better athlete. Just don't know what the hell we're going to see with him. And then at least with Hubbard, he is durable as shit. Like he has fought like some
Except
tough
for
guys.
when he fights a 45-year-old, what's the guy's name?
Oh, with the triangle.
Yeah.
But it's not like he got knocked out or anything. I mean,
he was getting his ass beat.
But he's not going to have to worry about getting triangled from takedowns.
Holland.
Yeah, I mean, common sense says Hernandez is the better fighter. He's a better athlete. He's faster. He's a little crisper striking, but who knows where his head is at. This is up at 155, but I actually think he does better at 55 than 45. I think 45 was a horrible fight for him. I think the over hits, I think that's the way to play this is round 3 starts, over 2.5, whatever it is. Man, gun to my head.
Ooh, that's a tough phrase to say on this fight.
I know. I almost want to choose Hubbard, and I know it's the wrong. Like I know that's not. Like I don't feel good about it, but
he's had such a high ceiling for a long time. I think every time I watch Hubbard, I'm like, man, this dude is tough. He's good everywhere. It's not like he's lacking in anything. He just kind of finds a way to lose every single time. Yeah. And it's weird. Actually, the fight that I thought he lost the most clearly against Figlak, thought he was getting his ass whooped. They actually gave it to him.
Yeah.
But he's had such a high. I think he's had a high ceiling because he really can do everything. And then Hernandez is weird. It seems like he's hit his ceiling multiple times. And he's fast and he's dynamic and he seems to be getting better sometimes, but continues to lose.
He never lives up to his ability and hype, and Hubbard always exceeds his ability and hype.
I mean, I got to think this is like an over 2. I think is the only way to play it for me.
Yeah.
I really don't even want to choose a side. I guess if I did, I'll join you. If you're going to go Hubbard, I'll go Hubbard too.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, and there's very little confidence. I'm really at a 50-50, and it's like pick somebody, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go Hubbard on this. But and this could be like one of those like the Tim Means fight where it's like we could look foolish where Alex comes in and just
blitz him
and just comes in and completely dominates. And I can absolutely see it. But just the way that he's been fighting. If Alex Hernandez, who walked into the UFC for the first time, was showing up, I'd pick him any day of the week. But him getting this, like going from a brute animal to this, I'm going to reserve myself and hold myself back. And then switching camps again.
They kind of talked about that with BSD last weekend. They said he switched camps and now he's trying to be a technical on the outside kickboxer instead of just I'm going to kick your legs hard as shit 7 times and then kill you.
Yeah. I like BSD crazy and I like Alex Hernandez crazy. Hopefully we see Alex come back like a maniac and just starch him.
So you said he left the camp. Do you know where he actually is now?
They are. So my understanding is that Royval opened up a place, rented a spot just to like put some mats in and just get something for them. But a bunch of the Factory X guys were kind of going around training at different places and checking stuff out. So I think they're still up there. I think a bunch of them are still training together, and they're just kind of checking out different places.
Royval, that's crazy because he was the Factory X like mainstay.
That was my understanding. Don't take my word for any of this. This is coming second and third hand, so I don't know all of the details, but I believe it was him. But I think
I'll DM him. We'll find out.
There's a few of them that are most likely not there anymore that are kind of moving around.
Okay, I see. All right, next one.
All right, next we have Cesar Almeida -410 versus Ihor Potieria +310.
I mean, the line seems wide to me, and I hate that because Cesar's probably just going to knock him out pretty quickly. But I mean, with how bad, like if Ihor has any brain cells at all left in his head, I mean, did he not just see what we just saw in Cesar's last fight is get taken down? And I'm the biggest Ihor fader objector ever because I think he's not as I don't think he's like real life. But then in the fight against the Polish guy, he really surprised me. He started just touching him, moving. He had some head movement. He had like a game to him.
That was after the Polish guy gassed.
Yeah, and the nut shot and the weird stuff. I don't even think the Polish guy gassed. He just kind of lost his rhythm and his range. It was such a weird, bizarre fight. But that was the first time I was like, whoa, Ihor is not.
He looked good.
He's not a complete fish. Yeah. It's hard for me to see Cesar laying on his back again like that. It's hard not to see Ihor gas, kind of like Kopylov was starting to gas. I mean, I think Cesar's probably just going to knock him out in the first or second round.
Yeah, I think this is Cesar all day. Kopylov did drop Cesar in the second round, I think.
Kopylov's a much better striker.
No, 100%. He sat him down. But man, watching him strike before that, just pulling and firing right hands over the top and just really good, tight boxing, ripping the body, the low kicks, of course. Yeah, I mean, even if he does get the takedowns, he doesn't have the cardio or the ability to like not go full ape and panic and gas himself out. And Cesar is just as calm as could be in there.
Yes, almost too calm. That was actually my issue in the Kopylov fight. Kopylov could have gassed way sooner, but Cesar did so little to actually just stand up. He didn't do anything to stand up. He just laid there and was like cool with it. That's where I was concerned.
Yeah, I don't know that Ihor is as good of a wrestler as Kopylov or as calm or patient or anything. But the other thing is Cesar is over at in Connecticut with Pereira and Glover. And then who's the guy that just fought on Contender? He won, but they didn't give him a contract. Big, tall kickboxer as well.
Belagru.
Yes, he's over there with all of them. So I think that's only going to help him with this fight and with this camp. So,
I do like that camp. I think Glover's a really smart mind.
Yeah. I like Ihor here by KO.
Ihor?
Jeez. I am the Chinese food.
Those chilies getting you. Yeah,
Chinese Cesar Almeida for the win.
What you thought you ate? You just ate some Chinese mind control. Welcome to the CCP.
I don't even know. Like TikTok is in my head now and they're controlling me from the inside out.
I've seen you dancing.
All right, next we have Marina Rodriguez +150 versus Iasmin Lucindo at -175.
His name gives me PTSD, but I did put a bet on Iasmin. I think I put $1,000. What's the line again? I'm sorry.
We have Rodriguez +150, Lucindo at -175.
Okay, yeah, I put 1,000 on Lucindo at like +110 or +120 when it opened, and now the line flipped, and that's what I anticipated. So that's going to give me my exit if I need to. I've just fallen into the Marina trap 10 too many times. Every fight, I'm convinced this is the one. She really is good.
And it really is good. She just won't show it when she needs to.
Well, honestly, if they would have given her the Andrade fight, I would have been okay with that. It's just, it was the volume versus just the big moments of just getting cracked. And so I was like, man, the striking was her thing. And now she's showing holes there too. She's getting cracked. She's getting out volume. She's getting pressured. She was lucky she won the Yan Xiaonan fight. I thought Yan was smacking her. And then she's susceptible to takedowns. And when she's on her back, it's bad news. I guess this is going to test how good Lucindo really is. I thought her last win against Kovacevic was a really, really good win, just seeing as how Kovacevic has come along and how she's been since she's been at ATT. But, I think that Marina is going to be harder. First of all, a way better striker. And two, she's going to be harder to get a hold of. She moves so much laterally. So this is a massive step up for Lucindo. I think -175 is a crazy number to pay on her. At plus money, I was all in. Cool, take my money. I think this girl has a lot of talent, and the way that she was striking with Wardigui. Wardigui, yes. The way she was striking with her, that was an amazing fight. I did not expect that out of her. Grappling upside, I think the striking is somewhat close. So I pick Lucindo to probably win just on aura and youth, but I would be very careful with this fight. I wouldn't play her 175.
Cool.
Good.
Coach,
cool.
anything you want to add?
Cool.
Yeah.
He says the Brazilian's going to win.
He says, yeah. What he said. Next, we have Steven Wonderboy Thompson at plus 170 versus Joaquin Buckley at minus 200.
Man, Wonderboy old too.
He's old.
Buckley's not, what? Yeah, I think Buckley's actually young. I think we all think he's old, but he's.
Why would we think he's old? I thought he was super young.
I don't know.
He's 30.
No, he's old. He's old. Yeah, old as shit.
You can't. If you're 30, you're done. You just quit fighting right this moment. Man, Buckley is weird. I can't figure out what his style is. He's making it work and he's doing really well.
He's a Taekwondo guy, believe it or not. But it's so crazy.
But he mixes. Like you look at his last fight, hands are just glued to his face and just bobbing and moving. And he stays outside and just has this funky rhythm and then just explodes in. Then, of course, we saw the kick heard around the world with the super wild spinning stuff and his power. He's knocking people out. But he's wrestling now, too. His wrestling is really good, and his cardio has come leagues. It was always, I think, when he fought Al Hassan, and he just wrestled him, but then he was the one dying at the end, and now he doesn't. He mixes it well, and he's doing the right stuff. We saw him in his last fight, hurt that massive 6'20" giant. And then but Wonderboy still looks good. He's still doing all the right stuff. And
style's great for him.
His style is great, and he's doing it. The Wonderboy is beating pretty much everyone except for people who are out grappling him. You have Gilbert, you've got Bilal, and then Shavkat. They all were like, hey, we're going to strike. Kidding. They all grappled him. So it really leads me to believe, like, all right, he can do this and all of that stuff. But then at some point, you just start like, gosh, he's getting older. He's frail, and Buckley hits hard. The other thing is that even Wonderboy's takedown defense is really good, and people are getting him down, but they're getting him down on the cage, which I think that is benefiting Wonderboy infinitely, whereas Buckley doesn't really cage wrestle. He blast doubles you and gets you off your feet. And I think that alone is going to be a big differentiator, wrestling out in the open versus wrestling on the cage. Look, man, I'm old. Wonderboy's old, and I know, like, I could cage wrestle all day. You give me a high school senior who's like, oh, I'll go. And they just blast me. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
Nope.
Yeah, give me a D1 national champion on the cage versus a high school state placer with some testosterone who's just ready to just go. Man, I wanted to say Wonderboy here. It just seems like Buckley in his youth and his power, and he actually does have good striking as well. He is pretty educated. He's not. So I got to lean Buckley on this, and it pains me because I love Wonderboy, but I think Buckley is going to end up getting him.
I think that Buckley's probably going to finish him.
Man, I actually think if it goes to a decision, I could see Wonderboy getting somewhere. I'm not to say that he will, but I think that's his best shot. But if there's a finish, that's what worries me. Is I just think the durability of Wonderboy is fading.
For as much as is made about Wonderboy, and this is true. I mean, he is amazing. He is incredible. He does take a lot of damage. He does get punched quite a bit. For as the head movement and the hands down and all that stuff, he does get hit a lot. And his chin is always held, for the most part, always held up. But I know Luke got a hold of him a few times. Like, there's been people that have hurt him and clipped him a lot of times. I think Buckley's just as good as all of those guys. I mean, Buckley, like you said, he's so explosive. I love his boxing combinations. They're so clean. He's got the Taekwondo, the little traditional martial arts. I like Buckley here. I mean, he's 11 years younger. He just beat Nursultan in a crazy looking fight, like a circus fight. I think he's just better, faster, younger, more explosive. I think it's time catching up with Wonderboy here.
I think so.
Next up, we have Roman Dolidze at plus 141 versus Kevin Holland at minus 161.
I think you pronounced that wrong. I think it's Kevin Holland.
Oh, hey, my bad, guys.
He's from Houston. It's Kevon.
My fault.
This is
Tell me about that, because I'm curious what your thoughts
this
on
is, I think, another one of those fights. It's like, just who knows? This is a crazy fight. I think Kevin's much more athletically gifted. No, I'm going to go Kevin. Yeah, I'm going to go Kevin. I think he's much more athletically gifted. He's so much taller, so explosive. Doesn't really have a good semblance, like a good process. But then again, neither does Roman. Roman is all grappling, all crazy stuff. I think that Kevin's takedown defense is a lot better than people think that it is, especially these days.
I don't, but I don't know if it matters.
Well, look at
Well, again, the scale, it's marginally, but when you look at the floor and you fall down, like, it can only improve from there.
You know what? He showed me against Hamzat looked good.
It was,
I know he got finished so quickly, but he was doing all the right stuff. He was hitting Granby rolls. He was, pulling the elbows out. Like, everything he was doing was exactly what he needed to do.
Man, first of all, Dolidze's last fight was at 205. Holland's last fight was at 170, and Holland's going back up to 85. Dolidze is returning back to 85 as well. Dolidze is slow as shit. Like, man, he is so slow, it's insane. Holland is going to piece that boy up on the feet. His wrestling is not amazing at all.
Big overhand to run at you.
Yeah, and then El cage wrestle. We were actually, I think it was Eric Anders was going to be fighting Dolidze, and then Dolidze got hurt, or it was Kelvin. I forget who it was. I think it was Anders though. And we were really worried about the rolling leg locks where he would roll through.
Because when he can't take you down, he'll just drop for it.
Yep, he'll just drop. And then you see what he did to Hermansson, where Hermansson was piecing him up. And then, of course, but Hermansson shot. Hermansson was taking him down on top. Man, Dolidze just like attacked leg locks, came up on top, and he was really, really good. The issue is, if Dolidze pulls guard, does Holland just engage him? And if he does, man, I could see Dolidze doing some wacky, weird shit and winning. Otherwise, I don't see it. I think Kevin Holland is going to beat his ass.
Damn.
But, man, if Dolidze can grab Holland and drag the fight to the ground somehow, man, he has a really, really good shot of winning, because his grappling is really, really good. And Holland has really good grappling. The issue with that, and this here's the thing, is some people overestimate their grappling. They just, or not even their grappling, is they just won't bail. Like, why go into the fire? Like, oh, you're a good grappler too. Yeah, but the only way that he can beat you is if you stay in his guard.
Your only path to victory. Yeah,
it's Michael Oleksiejczak, the last fight. Like, he dropped Holland, and like, why stay there? Why jump in? Why not just exit out and bail and force people to come back up? And I'm not sure that Holland has the mental capacity to not dive in the guard and just go, oh, hey, I knocked out Jakar. Like,
Jacare.
Yeah, Jacare. As I said that, I was like, that didn't sound right at all. Anyway, I like Holland here. He should win. Man, you are betting on two apes to
yeah,
like
buffoons.
Just IQ it out.
Yeah, I think you're being hard on Kevin's grappling. I think his jiu-jitsu is actually way better than people.
I think it's phenomenal, but it's not good enough to where Dolidze isn't going to entangle a leg and come up on top.
But I think this is, if you told me Dolidze was going to do that and then play position over submission and come on top and be very solid and very clean, be like, oh, I can easily see Roman win this. Like if he just does that and then controls him. But if he starts going leg locks, I think Kevin is one. I think he's very flexible, doesn't get hurt and won't tap. And two, I think he's so well aware that he's going to just spin out of these leg locks. He'll play the game, and I think he'll come on top and he'll punish Roman.
I'm not worried about the leg lock. I'm worried about what he did to Hermansson. He went heel hook, came up on top, used the heel hook to get on top, actually trapped Hermansson's leg in a calf slicer, and then just ear hold him to death. And
yeah, that's what I worry about.
That's what I mean.
Yes,
like just some scramble. Roman Dolidze on top of you, like that is.
He's an ox.
Yeah.
Ooh, the more that we talk about it, the more I worry about it. Like his big body coming back down,
yes.
Kevin's frail body going up, and if he just body locks him and tosses him Georgian style.
And Holland can get clinched. Like that's, I mean,
it's happened, Brunson.
Yeah, and we saw Dolidze clinch Nasruddin Imavov just boom, clinch him, got him over there. And again, like, I think Kevin can win this, but it's a very winnable fight for Dolidze as well, depending on the stupidity of Holland.
Yeah, it's just Dolidze is just so slow is the biggest issue. I'm gonna go Kevin Holland too, but now that I'm looking at this, I have less faith.
Yeah, no, you can't have faith in two morons. Like,
no, absolutely not. These are the two guys we talked about for a long time.
Like, and they're both very, very skilled in certain situations, but you can't expect either one of them to put a good game plan together and fight intelligently for 15 minutes. Like, they just don't do it.
Next, we have Kayla Harrison minus 800 versus Ketlen Vieira at plus 575.
Overhand to double leg to mount to TKO.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wrap.
Because I think if Ketlen gets on her back, she's not really getting up. I like Ketlen. I've bet on Ketlen many, many times. I think she's big chick. She's mean, nasty. But when she goes down, she's not going to get back up.
Yeah, and honestly, Larissa Pacheco did some really good stuff with Harrison, and I mean, was scrambling and coming up and doing, and for the most part, Harrison handled that really well. I don't think Ketlen is going to be able to do what Larissa was doing up a weight class with power.
Just look at her body. I called this a long time ago, beginning of the show when Sarah McMahon fought Carol Rosa, whatever, and I was like, the second McMahon gets her down, her big old granite hip, she's not getting back up. And I think the same way with Vieira, she's not going to get back up. And then, like you said, it's going to be, the age-old question. Is it TKO or is it submission?
Yeah, I think
TKO probably.
Yeah, I think it's probably TKO.
She wants to show at the UFC she's exciting and she's mean, and the submissions aren't going to do it. And she's Brazilian.
And honestly, the Brazilian style play guard, don't give up your back. So you give up your back, you give up the choke, you stay on the mat, you're getting elbowed. Like, I see more of a TKO. I mean, now we're just playing Nostradamus, like reading into the future, but either of those are the way it plays out. Now, of course, you flip a coin to see, but I see a TKO.
Kayla looked really good last fight. I'll be honest. She looked way better.
Really good.
All right, moving on to the featured bout of the evening. We have Jose Aldo at plus 115 versus Mario Bautista at minus 135.
Man, this fight to me is the last Aldo fight.
Martinez.
Yeah, Jonathan Martinez. And so then I ask, like, how does Mario Bautista win? And it really is Aldo's chin and cardio have got to be faded enough to where is it just has father time caught up. So that's what you have to hope for. He's not going to get a takedown. Aldo has some of the best takedown defense we've ever seen.
You don't think Mario can get a takedown on him?
Chad fucking Mendes could barely get a takedown on him.
I kind of think Mario can get a takedown on him. I know that sounds insane.
It sounds insane to me.
Like, I know Marab really couldn't get takedowns either. Yeah. But he wrestles like side to side, and he's so scrambly.
Maybe. I don't see it. I mean, he does have great cage wrestling. He's not a traditional wrestler, so he grew up in the MMA wrestling system. So, I mean, absolutely the opportunity is there. But if he can't, now he has to box him. And Mario hits hard and he has a really long range and reach. But man, Aldo looked great that last fight. His head movement, his boxing is always so good. This fight really, okay, so now you're at elevation. So you really, this isn't about Mario winning. It's about Aldo losing. And is Aldo's chin gone? Is Aldo just a little too old? Is Aldo just a little too slow? Does Aldo get tired? So this is really predicated on age and cardio for Aldo versus skill and, for Bautista. And we still haven't seen Aldo fall that far off of the cliff.
He's amazing. His game has gotten better.
And he's only losing to the absolute top guys. I mean, so then it comes down to game plan. And I mean, I think the guys at the lab could put, if it were me and I'm coaching Mario today, I would say clinch him, push him up against the fence as early and fast as I can and rip as many body shots as I can.
Have to press him, have to fill the volume.
Yep. And then you've got to knee his body. You've got to rip his body. You've got to kick his body. And then you press him there. But I'm not his coach, so I don't know the game plan. I would just
that's
assume,
a lab style right there.
Yes, I think it used to be a lot more of a lab style, and now I think the lab style. I think their traditional striking has gotten a lot better over the last few years. I think the guys are striking more and cage pushing less.
But I guess, sorry, I didn't mean the cage pushing. I meant if I'm the coach, I'm telling Mario, your biggest tool that in your arsenal is your cardio. I mean, what we saw that EPO performance, the last fight was unbelievable from Mario. That dude never gets tired. He's a bulldog. Like, he's just crazy. I would say you got to just press Aldo. Don't care if you get hit 1,000 times. You got to just keep pressing him. Wear him, make him punch himself out, and you put it on him, and then you got to take over round 2 and round 3.
Yeah. I definitely think the over hits here. I think you go to a decision. I think so. I mean, most of Aldo's fights now are kind of leaning
because he's very defensive.
He's very defensively minded. He will attack, but
I'm actually worried on the other end of that over.
Of Bautista being knocked out?
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Because Trevin Jones.
Yep. And we've seen Bautista get clipped a few times, and he's been known. No, I still think the over hits. But yeah, I like Aldo here. And I like Mario. He's 8-2 in the UFC. He's done really well. Trevin beat him, and then Corey Sandhagen beat him. That said, he has not fought anywhere near the level. He fought Ricky Simone, and that was a completely different style than what we
And now
here.
we saw Ricky Simone in the last fight, and he's starting to kind of.
Yes, he did not look great. So I got Aldo here. I think it'll probably end up being like 2 rounds to 1 or something like that, and cardio push the 3rd round.
I think this is like kind of like the Lucindo fight. I have no reason to pick Mario, but I'm going to on youth, on just like willingness to fight, just being in the face. I'm gonna go with Mario.
Okay, really quickly, just before we bail out of this, Aldo's 38, and he just beat Jonathan Martinez.
Kicking style. All kicking style.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm just going through stuff. He's won a couple boxing fights. He lost to Merab, which I thought he won that fight anyway.
Really?
Yeah, he was just being pushed. I thought it was very boring. Merab pushed him against the fence, and I thought that Aldo did enough when he wasn't pushed against the fence for the damage control argument. Whatever. Yeah. And wait a minute, what? That was in Salt Lake as well.
Oh, okay.
And he held up. He held up against Merab for 3 rounds in Salt Lake. So he's not a stranger to Salt Lake.
Even 3 rounds against Jan, he was good. It was rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah.
He started to.
He beat Font, Pedro Munoz, Marlon Chito Vera right before that. Then he lost to Jan, lost to Chito, split, and then lost to Volk. I mean, the dude is still on top of the game in terms of like beating all the guys except for the top guys.
He's amazing. He's a legend.
Yeah, and so really it just comes down to like, has he fallen off that cliff yet? I don't think so. And so I'm going Aldo.
Okay.
All right. In the co-main, we have Raquel Pennington -170 versus Julianna Pena at +145.
I want to say something about this on a technical level, very, very nuanced technical level before we move on to the main event, and I'll let you give yours. Has anyone cared less about a fight than this one?
I care a lot about this fight.
Do you? Oh, because you know Raquel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and her are friends now.
Yeah, you know Raquel, whatever. But on a I don't know any of these people basis, like, man, these are so uninspiring, like, people.
Just crazy that Raquel's the champion.
Yes. And then Julianna Pena, where I'm like, geez, like, I don't know. Give us your technical analysis on that.
I mean, I watched Raquel move around with Tracy, and I've watched Raquel, like, I've known Raquel since she was an amateur, and I was not legal, whatever. And she just has a calm game. Like, we watched that in the last fight with Mayra Bueno Silva, just throwing crazy stuff at her and trying to fill that space and screaming and yelling. And, I'm wondering, my phone is going crazy right now. The Verizon thing had shut off.
Is Verizon back up?
I guess it's back up.
Our whole network, Verizon network, was down here. I don't know, in Phoenix, in the East Valley where regular people live. It was. I don't know about in the West Valley where Camuela lives. It was down.
Yeah, it was down.
Okay, yeah, we've had a Verizon thing all day going on over here.
Now I got 30 text messages in a row. I'm like, who is blowing?
29 of those are from me.
Yes. Where are you? You're late for the pod. I love, we talk about C-Rod all the time, just how calm he is, how he can just stay in the pocket. That's how Raquel is. I think that's so great about her game. And I think Pena is so willing to throw like such pitter-pat punches, pull guard, do stupid, weird stuff. I just think Raquel's game is so much more solid. She's got heavy boxing pressure, stick in your face, knee on the fence, good top game jiu-jitsu. I think she's just really, really solid. I think she's a better champion, just more consistent game.
Okay, so Brandon's personal bias bet the house on Julianna.
Oh, okay.
All right, time for the main event. But first, boys, anything you guys want to plug?
Well, one, how deep are we into this? How many minutes are we?
We're 50 minutes in.
This is going to be the fastest podcast the world has ever seen. So I think we should spend the next 48 minutes talking about random stuff.
I think that would be great. Right before the main event.
Oh, man. People will love it. They will have nothing bad to say about it.
I've noticed you've been wearing this Apple Watch quite a bit.
Yep.
At practice, even. It's distracting, honestly.
Is it?
Very.
So I'm fat. And
obviously.
I have put on a couple of pounds over here. And then
explain the shirt, because this is an American show produced in America, and look at the shirt that you're wearing. What does it say? It takes one Iraqi to no one.
Huh?
Why are you wearing this shirt this is an election year. And you're supporting Iraq.
I think my mic is going out. I don't really hear. My earphones, are they working?
Are you getting the terrorist cell to
No, I actually thought it was funny. I was going to wear this shirt, and we're not actually going to go on for hours about this, but just really quickly, I was in it's Amir Al-Bazi's. It's his shirt. He's trains with us, Iraqi born, raised in England, now he's over here with us. But I was actually at the PI and we were training. I was training with C-Rod, and I am soaked to the core, soaked. And I get back in the locker room, and I'm getting my clothes out to change, and I put a shirt on, and it was one of my Arcadia wrestling shirts, my youth wrestling organization.
That you guys should donate to?
That you should donate to, link in bio. But so I put it on, and this thing is the tiniest thing ever. Turns out it was my son's shirt. And it was in my pile.
You were about to jump off the PI.
So I had nothing else to wear, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know what to do. And Amir was, changing as well, and so he had an extra one of these shirts, so he gave it to me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I took
that was at the PI recent.
Yeah,
I thought he gave it to you today.
No, just like a couple weeks ago, whenever we were up there. So anyway, for AQ's fight. So anyway, that was that. So he gave that to me. So I was like, I'll wear it on the podcast.
This makes the shirt very endearing, but also I'm mad because I wanted to train with you guys, and I was going to hit up Amir, but I don't know.
You didn't want to train. You just wanted to show your lady the PI.
I was going to train. I wanted to train.
No, he wasn't going to train. All right. Before we go to the main event, go to mybookie.ag and get up to $1,000 bonus, deposit bonus. So sign up. Use code Santino, $1,000 deposit bonus. And then they have a lot of like games and different prices and stuff that's going on, especially during the NFL season. So you can live bet a lot of the in-game fights and a ton of live in-game props, especially during the NFL season. So go to mybookie.ag. Santino is the code. Do it. Why not?
Who is this Jaden McDaniels character?
Who's that?
Well, I keep seeing the scores for the NFL. I don't keep up with the NFL at all. I just don't like football.
I don't think it's McDaniels. I think it's Jaden Daniels.
Okay. Either way,
Washington Commanders quarterback.
I keep seeing the score.
Oh.
Like, I'm a Bengals fan, and I'm like, oh, the Washington. My knowledge is still stuck from like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, Bengals are good. Washington sucks. And then I see the score. I'm like, what's going on? And I guess yesterday they played the Cardinals.
42-14.
What's going on? Who's this guy?
Jaden is phenomenal. He's a rookie quarterback.
Wow.
Killing it. But the Commanders put a ton of money into the offseason, and they pulled in. I mean, they've got Brian Robinson as a running back. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury, who is the former Cardinals head coach.
So that's cheating, kind of, if you play the Cardinals.
But they're bringing people in. They brought in, I think it was Gabe Davis Gabe Davis down at Jacksonville. But they signed a ton of people in the offseason. They got Jaden Daniels. I think he ended up going 3rd or 5th overall. And they're killing it.
He's legit.
I think they're 3-1 now.
Big Dick Jaden.
Big Dick Jaden.
That's crazy. 82% completion percentage. It's the greatest of all time through 4 games.
Let's get to the main event.
All right. In the main event, we have the champ, Alex Pereira, minus 460 versus Khalil Rountree at plus 360.
I mean, I think Khalil can absolutely catch Pereira and give him a really, really hard time. Do I think he'll do it? I don't know. I actually think he's going to give him one of his hardest fights, and I'll tell you why. One, everyone's sleeping on him. So anytime these weird, like the Julianna Pena,
It's Nunes.
Yeah, when nobody's giving anybody a chance. I think it was Alexa Grasso that you called on the first one. When she got the upset. Yeah, it's like, so this just feels like that. So anytime, what are the odds?
The odds are Pereira minus 460 and Rountree plus 360.
That's actually nowhere near as wide as I thought it was going to be when.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like minus 1,000. That said, so there's that. But the other thing is Khalil's a southpaw, which we know Pereira likes to throw that outside low kick, the calf kick. But the other thing is even all of the people that he is starching with that calf kick, just like blasting, they don't check kicks. Khalil Rountree checks everything. Like he really does.
He's very tight style.
Yes.
Very sound.
Then he's got very fast hands and he has really good, he closes distance well, almost Buckley-ish, where they're on the outside and they explode well coming in. So you've got that. Then, of course, his Muay Thai is decent. I don't think he's going to out. And when I say Muay Thai, I'm thinking clinch and knees and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to out Muay Thai clinch Pereira, but, he's fine there. I actually think this is going to be kind of a boring, longer fight. I think the knockout could happen, but I think it'd be in 4 and 5 because I think we're going to see Pereira front kick, use his range, not find any of these like massive openings. And then we all know Pereira loves his left hook. Well, that left hook is somewhat negated with the stance of Rountree being a southpaw. So that alone is just going to make it's a harder angle to hit.
His two weapons.
Yeah. And so the calf kick is not there. The left hook is not there. I think Pereira's 37 now. So the chin.
He's liable. He gets hurt every fight, and he's liable. The last 2 fights, he's actually looked really good. But other than that, he's liable anytime.
He really is. And then you have a guy who's just a pure striker who's not going to. There's a stat on it.
So funny.
Takedowns between the two of them. There's one takedown between both of them in their entire career. And that takedown is from Pereira trying to, not Rountree. He's never tried to take anybody down. And so he's not going to try and take Pereira down. The issue that he's going to face is the range and can he get inside? I think he will. I think he is going to find his way inside a good amount. But I also thought that who the hell did he just beat? Detroit kid? Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
I thought Jamal Hill's clean boxing down the, not clean, but like fast hands down the middle were really going to do it. And that was not the case. So you got to go Pereira here. I mean, you have to. Like that's the Pereira's the upside. He's the guy here, all of that stuff. Rountree, I don't even really believe that he should be the guy in this position. Beating Anthony Smith.
Can you imagine a world where Khalil Rountree Jr. is the champion?
It's kind of weird to me.
It would be weird, but it could happen. But it could
absolutely happen. I got to say, if it goes to a decision, all things considered, I got to think Pereira is the better guy and that he will win. Would not surprise me to see the chin
one way or the other.
Yeah, just man, even 2 years ago, it'd be like, all right, not happening. But we've just seen him get hit too many times where it kind of scares me. So I think if Rountree wins, I think it's definitely a knockout. But yeah, I definitely lean Pereira. That said, you guys, I'm wrong at every fucking main event there is. So
yeah, just bet Rountree.
Bet Rountree on everything because Pereira should win. Rountree is going to dominate.
That'd be weird if you call this because the eerie part where you're like, hey, this is the one everyone's sleeping on.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And it's not like a technical side to it. You just see it where everyone is on that and they're like, and it just goes the other way.
That'd be really interesting to play the overs because I think that, there's the bias from the last few fights on guys that don't check leg kicks. Actually, Jamal was a southpaw too, and Pereira still found it. But like you said, Khalil checks kicks, and he's very prideful in his Muay Thai and his defensive, prowess and stuff.
He shells up really well.
Yep. I think he'll slow down probably, around 3, 4, 5. Yep. But it's also not like Pereira has the greatest cardio ever either. Yeah. And they're fighting at altitude, both of them. I don't know. I think the overs are going to hit.
Yeah, I think so. I think the over hits. And then Pereira he's also not like this wild pace setter. Like
he was just clean and then finds openings and then exposes it. But
he's not going in there like a buzzsaw, like one of these guys going to go get knocked out early in 2 minutes because they're swinging. He takes his time. I mean, he's a vet. So, yeah, I think the overhits, I think Pereira wins this, but I'm not even kidding just for the fact that I'm saying that.
Go the other way. And the number's huge.
And the number's huge.
All right. Well, I think that does it. That's another podcast in the books. Did we crack an hour, producer?
We're at 59 minutes and 54 seconds.
Cut it now.
Yep.
See ya.